I'm Chris Dyson. I'm a 3-time Trans Am champion, and we're here to start the season. Well, this morning always starts like every morning with good breakfast. Woke up, sort of got my mind focused, remembered it's a race day. We're at the race weekend. It's the happy time, it's the happy place. We try to focus on what's ahead, which is a great day here. Our Mustang, our number 16 Jim Weed car is ready to go. The team is here. I came and checked in with my engineers, and we've talked about our plan for the day, and it's exciting. This is the best time of the year. This is New Year's celebration starting in February for us. Yeah, so I mean, we spent the winter training. You know, racing never shuts off. You're always on it mentally, and you want your body to follow. And I think always having the ability to be ready to go at a moment's notice is something that we all racing drivers want to do. We don't want to be left behind. We want to be first. We want to be the fastest. And a lot of our focus away from the track is on making sure that we're at our absolute best, and when we're not at our best, that we can still get back to our best. And I think that's a key thing for any athlete. One of the big things in the off season is focusing on stamina and focus. And having a couple months off is a great time for the mind to decompress, getting in the gym, putting in that little extra, pushing to try to build up and create those reserves you're going to need when it matters, whether it's in the race or whether it's over a course of a long season. That athletic preparation is a big part of the sport. You know, this is a high risk, fast, and dangerous game. And what you want to make sure of is that you're not letting down the team and that you're keeping yourself in one piece. So focus is everything.
This should be a pretty good Trans Am racing thing, right? Nice.
For nearly 6 decades, Trans Am racing has been a battleground where muscle meets finesse. where speed and precision come together to make legends. And today the roar returns to where it all began in Sebring, Florida, as the 2025 Trans Am season takes off. The asphalt is rough, the corners are brutal, and the Florida sun turns this track into a furnace. But for these teams, these drivers, and these elite machines, this is home. From the fire-breathing TA1 monsters to the ultra-precise TA2 class, every car on this grid is dialed to the razor's edge, tuned to perfection, and ready to put on a show. We honor the past with every green flag, but make no mistake, this is a new era of Trans Am, and it's faster, louder, and more competitive than ever. The engines are primed in the Sunshine State, and the chase for the Trans Am Series Championship starts now. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sebring, Florida. Speed Sport 1 bringing you live coverage of the season opening round of the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Ralph Sheheen, DJ Clark, Ben Sissel will be joining us in a little bit. DJ, we have an absolutely beautiful day for racing.
Yeah, we really do. A little bit warmer than yesterday. That Florida sun starting to bake a little bit more. Probably will make the first couple of laps of this Trans Am race a little bit more interesting. But for the fans here trackside, you can't ask for better racing conditions than this in the middle of February.
It all started on a Friday afternoon back in 1966, March 25th to be exact. It was the first ever Trans Am Sedan Championship, as it was known back then, and that took place right here on this very racetrack at Sebring International Raceway. It was called the 4-hour Governor's Cup race for sedans. 44 cars were entered. 9 of those 44 were the 2-liter or bigger category. There was 1 Dodge Dart, 3 Ford Mustangs, 3 Plymouth Barracudas, 2 Chevy Corvairs. There were 35 cars in the under 2-liter category, including Alfa Romeo GTA 1600s, Ford Cortinas, Minis, Fiat Abarths, BMWs, Saabs, Renault Gordinis, Opel Cadets, and how about this, a 600cc Honda.
You gotta love that lineup there. Everything from across the pond and over here. It really goes to show the long history and breadth that is Trans Am. We've kind of had a little bit of everything along the way. And now, as we turn on into a new era of Trans Am, getting ready to take to these tracks once again, it's history meets the modern day. It's exactly what you want.
And the drivers competing in that first ever Trans-American Sedan Championship event were pretty stout as well. They ran the longer 5.2-mile circuit, but look at this lineup. A.J. Foyt, Jochen Rindt, Bob Tullius, Tony Adamowicz, Hurst Quetch, Patty Hopkirk, John Finger, and Dick Thompson, just to name a few. I mean, it was stout. And it was Jochen Rindt, who had flipped earlier in the weekend in practice, who ended up winning the overall, and he also won the under 2-liter class. And it was Bob Tullius who won the overall 2-liter class. Tullius was in a Dodge Dart. Rindt ran in an Alfa Romeo GTA. Today, a little bit different. Fire-breathing muscle cars from America dominating the grid.
Yeah, I mean, this is American muscle at its finest, and some of the hardest cars to frankly drive and control in the world in this top TA class. We're talking no real ABS, no real traction control. This is a driver's car, massive amounts of horsepower, no amounts of driver aids. There's a reason why we get some of the greatest names in racing wanting to come over and race in this series. It's really kind of the last of its kind to be competing in the modern world of motorsport.
Yeah, we don't have necessarily A.J. Foyt or Jochen Rindt in today's event, but we do have some very impressive drivers. Paul Menard, Chris Dyson, Adam Andretti, Tommy Drissi, Amy Ruman, Paul Tracy, and Wally Dallenbach, just to name a few. It's champions throughout.
Well, and let's not forget the driver going to be starting off in 5th place. That's Brent Crews as well, TA2 champion from a couple of years ago. Definitely a young gun with his name circled by quite a few teams on the American racing scene. Crews deciding to go full-time in TA this year for a new challenge. He is going to be one that may not have had the best qualifying, but he showed multiple times he's got what it takes, and he could be a little bit of a dark horse here at Sebring.
And 3 of those drivers already inducted into the Trans Am Hall of Fame, which opened up for the first time this weekend. Going in were, let's see, Chris Dyson, Amy Ruman, and Wally Dallenbach, along with the greats like George Fulmer and Roger Penske, Willie T. Ribbs. Pretty spectacular weekend here in Sebring.
Yeah, if you haven't had the chance to be able to come out and experience a SpeedTour weekend like we have here at Sebring, I can't recommend it enough. We're going to be all over the country this year, all the way from out in Watkins Glen, for the first time going to Barber Motorsports Park later on in the year. So if you are nearby one of these events, come on out with us. You'll be able to see all of these ground-pounding, fire-breathing Trans Am cars, as well as the always competitive TA2 class. And also, we bring along SVRA that we are so happy to be partnered with, and it's really great. You get the modern, you get the vintage, you get kind of everything you want out of a race weekend. There's really no other racing experience than a SpeedTour weekend.
Well, we're just beginning our coverage live here on Speed Sport 1 from Sebring with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Stay with us. Cars are lined up on the false grid, ready to go. You see our Janetta safety car moving out to the front of the field. They'll be rolling out onto the racetrack shortly. We're going to take care of some business real quick now so you don't miss any of the racing coming your way live here on Speed Sport 1. Stay with us.
Is this? Look at this view from Lostowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn 140-mile-an-hour entry speeds.
The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the V-Box HT2 system.
Said.
One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, look out, Miller, look out.
And we are back to Sebring. Glad to have you with us as we're getting closer to the start of our 2025 championship season. You know, there's multiple categories actually competing in our Trans Am race here today, DJ. You have the Trans Am cars, they're the biggest and the fastest. You have XGT, GT1, SGT, and GT cars all competing throughout the field, competing for the overall as well as class victories.
Yeah, it really gives it that kind of multi-class feel to everything. Pretty fantastic to see. You'll see a little bit of a class breakout. TA cars probably going to be the fastest, but there's always action all the way through the field in this one.
No doubt about it. Well, for a deeper look into the different categories competing in our Trans Am race, here's the new president of the Trans Am Series, presented by Pirelli, Andy Lowry.
The Trans Am Series has been around since 1966. What it has evolved to in that time is right here, a 900 horsepower, 2,800 pound beast. This thing produces over 2,000 pounds of downforce and flies around the track on 18-inch Pirellis. They're 14 inches wide at the rear, 13 inches wide at the front. It's an 18-inch wheel. Hauling tail around here. They're one of the most vicious cars around here. No traction control, no ABS, just a fire-breathing V8 flying around at 200 miles an hour. We have a wide variety of examples to run in our XGT class. This is a Corvette. It's got 600 horsepower at the wheels, and it's running on the 18-inch Pirelli tires again. It's making a lot of downforce, and you're allowed a lot of variations in XGT. So we're going to see cars from all over the world competing. High horsepower, high speed. These cars do have ABS, but they are not allowed traction control. Sitting right between our GT class and our XGT class is SGT. This is a very versatile car right here. This is a Howe chassis TA2 that it started life at, but it's eligible for SGT. You add 100 pounds, it's still the same Chevy LS motor, same Pirelli tires, same everything, but it's eligible to go race against the Porsche, the Mustang, and the Corvette that were more popular cars in this class. The 3 GT classes that we have in the Trans Am series is GT, SGT, and XGT. This is an example of our XGT cars. We've got a lot of different makes in this class because we're catching cars from all around the world. This is a Mercedes. It's producing about 550 horsepower. It's going up against some cars that have over 600 horsepower. This car in particular makes a ton of downforce. We're on our 18-inch Pirelli tires, and we've got probably 1,500 pounds worth of downforce that we get on here. And now moving on to our GT class. Here we've got a Mustang, 475 horsepower, 6-speed paddle shift. It's big downforce with the wing. It's got a huge splitter up front here. Also on our Pirellis, like every other car in our Trans Am series here, this car is going to go up against a wide range of marques here. We've got an Aston Martin here. We've got Maserati here. We're racing against Porsches. We've got an Audi GT4 car here. Our GT classes encompass cars from around the planet, and the racing is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sebring SpeedTour for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Round 1. Just like Trans Am did in 1966, we are starting right here at Sebring International Raceway. In P1, with a 1/10 of a second over Chris Dyson, is Paul Menard, last year's champion in the series. He won here and then went on to win the championship. Chris Dyson, who has won the championship before that, as he's buckling in this Jim Weed car, the nice green. I see that he's buckling in, so I'm not going to be able to answer any questions. P2. And the top liner, Burton Racing car. Then we've got Tomy, Drissi, the Trent Shoring Camaro. This new Ave Riley car, 2023 TA2 champion Brent Crews. Here running for a championship in TA. And Keith Grant. Then we've got Amy Ruman. But I want to point out, he's been with us in the series before, but not in this car. Unbelievable IRC. You'll see that he's an XGT. But I got to run back up to the front of the grid. We've got a bunch of legends here. I saw Willie T. Ribbs walking around. Wayne Estes with Sebring is out here. Some great cars. We've got TA, XGT, SGT, and great start the series. Joan, my new friend. From the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Kevin is looking to have a career in motorsports. He's brought to you by 3 Architecture TA2 Series driver Bob Accardo. Bob, tell us a little about how did this happen?
So we get involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation for a while, and it's just so rewarding to bring these kids out here to the races, and man, they're so brave, they're so resilient, and we're just giving them a once-in-a-life, second-to-none experience. It's absolutely firing. It's wonderful. Nice.
Take the mic and scream into the microphone for us. Drive it! That was epic. Good job.
That was the best one.
I know. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. The engines have come to life, and everything around Sebring is now vibrating because those big 900 horsepower V8s will really rumble things up pretty big.
Yeah, if you haven't had your coffee this morning, that'll certainly wake you up a little bit just hearing that nearly 900 horsepower come on through the racetrack here at Sebring.
Qualifying was a pretty exciting session as well yesterday. Let's take a look at that, DJ.
Yeah, we had Paul Menard leading the field out there, setting down the early times. Dyson and Andretti and Drissi trying to follow him in. Amy Ruman there coming on through. That's the 04 right there as they work their way on through. That's Wally Dallenbach, another one of the drivers that we talked about. Adam Andretti here had a nasty lick in TA2. Good to see him back on the track. Excuse me, that's Dallenbach.
Yeah, that was Wally.
That's Adam.
That's Adam Andretti right there. Exactly, he did. He had a really big hit. And here's Drissi and his teammate right here. Those trench shoring entries. Good looking race cars. And then here was Menard coming out late in the session, taking one more run at it. And it was a good move to make on his part as he went to the top of the board.
Yeah, he was able to do that. Amy Ruman able to come home in 7th place after. A little surprising that we saw Menard come in and out of pit lane, but he certainly did it. And then the rest of the field also powering their way on through. Paul Tracy in the second half of qualifying making a statement.
Cars have rolled out onto the racetrack. Here's a look at the track map of this legendary circuit. No elevation changes to think about or talk about here.
No, it's as flat as a board, but rest assured the bumps around this circuit will make things plenty challenging for these drivers, especially through Cube 3, 1, 2, and 3.
That's our Cube 3 turns 1, 2, and 3. Then you start working your way through 4 and 5. Big bend here at 6. And then it's down the straightaway to the Mission Foods turn 7. That is a very tricky, very important corner. Can really suck you in there. Get that wrong, and you're going to lose a ton of time. But there's runoff room, as you can see, to get back on the track by turns 8 and 9. Through 10, 11, 12, Bishop's Bend. Over here to Cube 3, Bennett Transport Logistics, turn 15. Bridge Hall at turn 16. And you're on to the Ullman straightaway.
Yeah, and turn 16 there, Bennett Bridge Hall, turn 16, one of the most crucial corners on this circuit. You can get a pass down into the sunset of turn 17, but it's a little difficult. But if you lose it on 16, get a little bit off speed, you're going to be blown by down that long Ullman straight.
Yeah, and then if you goof up, like you said, Sunset Bend and out of 17, then you've ruined the front straightaway and your entrance into turn 1, and it just starts to compound from there.
Yeah, really snowballs if you mess that up coming out of 16, but if you get it right, you're going to get yourself a good run through Sunset, down into Cube 3, turn 1, and that'll just set you up for a good, not smooth, but rhythmic lap here at Sebring.
Folks making their way around, scrambling to get to the place they want to be for the start and watch the opening laps here of our season opener for Trans Am. Let's go through the grid. Here you go with row 1, the reigning champion, Paul Menard, and another former champion in Chris Dyson making up row number 1. Adam Andretti on the inside of row 2, former champ Tomy Drissi on the outside in that number 8. Then Brent Crews, a champion in his own right, coming up from TA2, sits inside there in row 3 in the 70 with Keith Grant. Alongside of him, that's Drissi's teammate. Amy Ruman, a former champion, sits here in 7th with the legendary Paul Tracy in 10th. And another champ, this one a 2-time champion, Wally Dallenbach, in the 4 car inside position number 9. And on the outside, Danny Lowry in the 42.
Yeah, moving back to that second half of the field, we get into the primary XGT, SGT, GT categories. That's going to be a close battle, I think, between Lowry and 11th place of Billy Griffin. Some other good battles to keep an eye on through the field. One driver that's going to be working her way forward, Kaylee Bryson, starts down in 23rd position following a multiple tire change. She's got the speed in the XGT class to move her way forward, so keep an eye on that yellow Chevrolet Corvette. She could really have some momentum.
All right, here we come down behind the Janetta safety car. Down the Ullman straightaway. The lights are off on the safety car. We should be looking at the green flag as we come up onto the front straightaway. Everybody just waiting to row through the gearbox and get these big 900 horsepower beasts completely unleashed here at Sebring. It started in 1966, but now the quest to be the 2025 Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli champion begins right now here at the legendary Sebring International Raceway as the field makes its way onto the front straightaway. And we're green and racing here at Sebring live on Speed Sport 1. Menard getting close to the door on Dyson as they come up the front stretch. All bumping and banging as they set up for turn 1. Menard will be the first one into the corner. Here's Tracy in that number 10 IRC car trying to push up alongside of Dallenbach. Dallenbach on the outside in that blue number 4.
Andretti on Dyson coming into turn 3 there. I think he was able to get that move. Good heads up, and Dyson really put off by that little bit of bumping and banging with Menard. He's going to have to regather here for the rest of this race.
Well, for Dyson, a much better start than it was in 2024 as he was off at turn number 1 and in the wall. And big brakes, smoke pouring out underneath Adam Andretti's car.
We said it earlier, no ABS in these machines. You got to be very careful in that heavy braking zone down into Mission Foods turn 7.
Field still trying to settle itself out, find its positions, and start looking for that rhythm. Here we go, on board with Tomy Drissi. Trent Shoring on board camera. Here comes the field. There's Menard out front. The Pittsburgh Paints back machine, car number 3. At Ford Mustang, and Andretti slipping and sliding as well.
Well, it is a little bit on the chilly side, about 74, 75 degrees ambient temperature. It'll probably take a lap or two for these Pirellis to warm up a little bit, but Andretti really hustling it here early on. Look how close he's been able to gain coming through Bennett Bridge Hall section of the track. He is on a charge.
You realize when you said a little chilly here at 75, everybody north of the Florida border line just laughed at you.
You're not wrong, but still.
Menard, look at that nose just planted as they scream down the Ullman straightaway in his Ford Mustang. Here's Amy Ruman in that bright red Chevy Corvette. She's got Wally Dallenbach looking for a way around behind in his Ford Mustang. Great drone shot as we come up the front straightaway. Dyson sitting back here in third. He's got a lot of company as well. I believe that's Crews right behind him.
Believe it is as well, yeah. And Brent Crews going to try to pick his way through the field a little bit. That is P4 of Brent Crews trying to put that pressure onto Dyson. I hope nothing's wrong with that car from Dyson based off that contact with Menard. It was a pretty minor
It was pretty light,
hit,
wasn't
so
it?
I don't think there is.
You wouldn't think so, no.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about Adam Andretti's car, the way it was looking pretty loose. Here's a move up the inside. Crews gets inside of Dyson going into Mission Foods, turn number 7. Strong move there, and there's Drissi in number 8 coming up behind him, and I believe that's 5th position.
And this is not the view that Chris Dyson wants to see. Brent Crews directly ahead of him and starting to gain a little bit on him as they come down into Cunningham Corner. Not really able to make that many overtakes through this section of the track. It's much more of a rhythm section, second, third gear corners. Dyson getting a little slippy slidey there coming through Collier.
These later corners here are so important to get through right because they set you up for 16, which dumps you out onto that very long Ullman straightaway all through here. Get any of this wrong and your entrance onto Ullman is completely out the window, and then you lose so much time.
Well, and it's particularly tricky as you come into turn 15, or Jon DeGaynor as it's been called. You think you really need to slow down for that right-hander, but it's much more of a flick. You've got to chuck the car in there and really just hope it sticks. But look at this advantage Paul Menard is starting to pull, and look at this. Andretti getting caught by Brent Crews. Brent Crews on a charge in that number 70.
Menard right now doing exactly what he wants. He's setting the pace. You can see the sparks showering out from underneath the front of the car. Here's Crews in his Chevy, the Camaro body machine, car number 70. Crews dealing with Andretti, gets to the inside. We have a change for second. Yes, we do. Crews is now in second. Andretti slipping back in his Camaro. As Adam Andretti now finds himself in third. Dyson right behind him in fourth. Dyson in a Mustang as well. and then it's Drissi after that in his Camaro. Right there, that's Tomy Drissi, the former champ.
Drissi falling back here a little bit in that number 8 machine. Now, there is some strategy here that's involved, and he may be in a position that he's wanting to save those Pirelli tires to be able to attack a little bit later on in the race. There is that strategic thinking about it.
100%. I had a long conversation with Wally Dallenbach about that, and he said, you know what? He goes, qualifying is not my best here, which he qualified 8th. But he said, what I try to do is I try to save those tires for late in the race. I set my car up for late in the race, use those tires late in the race. He said, at that point in time, I can be as quick as anybody out there, and that's when he goes for the win.
Well, and that's exactly what he did last year. He was able to stand on the podium a year ago by employing that exact strategy. So keep an eye on Dallenbach. He may be back in about 7th position right now, but that surge definitely coming later in the race.
Yeah. Here comes Amy Ruman. You see the red Corvette coming up onto the straight. Dallenbach right behind her. Here's the onboard with Wally. 160 plus miles an hour, 170 miles an hour as he sets up, almost 175 as he sets up for Sunset. And that's the point. You've got to get out onto that straightaway just right so you can get terminal velocity like that at the far end.
Exactly, and notice what he was doing down into the braking zone for Sunset. A little bit of a lift and coast phase, very light on the brakes comparatively, and then very smooth on throttle application. Now that is all what we just talked about. Keeping an eye on those tires. Didn't get fully on the throttle there into Cube 3 turn 1 until he had cleared around the apex, just making sure not to spin those rears.
Exactly. One thing Wally told me about driving one of these Trans Am cars was 900 horsepower, and that is a legit number. In fact, Wally told me there's probably a few cars throughout the field that are over 900. He said his car has been on the dyno, and it was 900 horsepower at the rear wheel, so it's a very legit number. But he said driving one of these cars at the edge is like dancing with the devil. He said you just pray you get one more lap out of it.
They're scary to drive. They are a little bit frightening. I mean, this is...
They're frightening to watch.
They are. I mean, this is relatively unrestricted engineering. Try to get the fastest car that you can out of this, as opposed to the TA2 cars that are very sort of cut and dry and adhere to a very specific principle. There's a lot more freedom in these cars, and as we mentioned, no real driver aids. They are beasts. But look at this. Brent Crews closing that gap on Paul Menard.
What do you think Crews did so well in TA2 that's going to make him a good TA driver?
Well, if you're able to work around those driver aids that you have, really and truly, you don't want to engage ABS. You don't want to engage traction control, even if you have them. It's going to stop you from spinning. It's going to stop those tires from locking up, but it's going to slow your lap time down. So if you're able to drive on the limit of that, it'll really teach you valuable lessons, and that's what he's doing here. The only difference being, instead of engaging those driver aids, he's just pushing it to the limit of not spinning the car out.
Caught a glimpse at Kaylee Bryson. Very quick, very fast young lady driver in that bright yellow Corvette back here. And then number 5, she's out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. A lot of good race car drivers, believe it or not, come out of Broken Arrow. Little Andy Hillenberg, the World of Outlaws sprint car racer, hailed from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Well, Kaylee knows a few things about running sprint cars. She's got a wide breadth of experience. Really anything with 4 wheels, she's raced it.
If you started in Oklahoma, you started on the dirt.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. It's just whether or not you had a wing on above you. That's all it came. That's the only question. Yeah, Kaylee, a very talented racer, putting on a good run here this afternoon. Early stages, good hour left to go in what is scheduled to be a 100-mile race for our Trans Am Series. That was the magic number. That first race back in '66 was a 4-hour race, but eventually 100 miles became the mark going across the country and up into Canada, wherever the series toured. Kaylee sets up nicely for Mission Foods turn 7. And look at Crews, boy, he is hounding the backside of Menard, and I'm guessing right now Paul Menard's going, who's this guy?
I think he's thinking, who's this kid behind me?
Yeah, I mean, he knows who it is, but you know that you get the point.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was talking about Brent coming into the season, fully expecting him to be competitive, but I don't think everybody was expecting this necessarily in the first race.
Well, let's remember, I mean, he started back in 5th position, and look at the litany of drivers he's had to pass to get up to this point. Drissi, Andretti, Dyson. This is an impressive run from Brent Crews, and he's really proving what we all knew he had. What's particularly impressive to me about this run, he's losing a little bit of time through the first sector, but on that last sector, the technical part coming through Cunningham and Collier, Jon DeGaynor, those really tricky corners to get right, that's where he's gaining the time.
There's Paul Tracy in that IRC car, which in talking to those crew guys about that very car, they said basically it's a simplified Australian supercar. Australian V8 supercar is what it is. Designed to come race over here. It has competed that design over in Australia, New Zealand. They've brought it up here to the States, and they're hoping to attract quite a few new purchasers who buy that car and come out and go racing. It's a very cost-effective way to go racing. And here's a chase for the lead. Crews diving. Menard counters. They're door-to-door, sweeping through the bend. Crews with the advantage right now, and Menard's going to let him have it. Boy, that was an aggressive move early.
That's not normally an area where you see a pass coming down into turn 10. Very, very aggressive from Brent Crews, and I liked exactly what you said there, Ralph. And that was Paul Menard recognizing, give up the ghost, maybe go back to that Dallenbach strategy. Now that you're not in the lead, save some tires a little bit, see if you can fight later.
That's the only thing I'm wondering about at this point with Brent Crews, is he's driven so hard to get to this point. Has he driven too hard? And we don't know until we get to the end.
Yeah, and let's be clear, these Pirelli tires are just about as perfect as tires can be. They're going to last this 100 miles. They're going to have good grip all the way throughout. But no matter how perfect a tire is, you're going to have a little bit of that wear rate. And so that's what you're going to have to manage over the course of this 100-mile run. And for Crews, I think his strategy here is just push as hard as you can. As you can see, the gap already growing over Menard, and hope by the time that those tires start to fall off, your gap's big enough that you're not going to be
you can hang on. I've been told that 2 laps is what you need to really get those tires up to temp. We are on lap 4, working lap 5, I guess, right now. So here's a look at the replay of the pass. Diving inside, Menard gave him room, let him carry it all the way across, and then tucked back after him to the outside through the bend there. And then Paul figured, okay, let's let the kid have his day in the sun.
Yeah, it's a wily move from the veteran, getting that crossover down through Collier, and it's really hard to hold it around the outside of that corner. As is the majority of this circuit, it is very, very flat. So you're not going to be able to carry that momentum easily, and good idea to give up the ghost is now we're starting to encounter some of the lap traffic. That's going to be a storyline throughout the race.
This might be one of our better battles right here. Amy Ruman in the red Corvette, just in front of the Ford Mustang of Wally Dallenbach. And then here's Crews catching up to the backside of some traffic. David Pintarik in his Ford Mustang gets passed by our race leader Crews, and then Menard will be looking at him. Here's that Mercedes, the AMG that our new president was talking about. You caught a glimpse of that briefly. That was Danny Lowry out of Beach Island, South Carolina, and that Bennett Bridge Hall pit box is Mercedes AMG GT4. There's the Maserati, one of them, and the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin is the 89. That's a GT category car. Mike Fitzpatrick out of Ellicott City, Maryland. 89X Motorsports Aston Martin GT4. And here's Ruman and Dallenbach onto the Ullman straightaway.
And this is where it's going to be crucial for Dallenbach. Just tuck up behind, get as much of that slipstream as possible. Try to be able to close on in. But Ruman looks like she's got a little bit more horsepower, maybe a little bit more straight line speed to pull away there. And that's going to give her some breathing room coming down into Sunset.
Yeah, that C7 bodied Corvette of Amy Ruman's, boy, that thing will thunder by you. I was watching her screaming through the bends underneath the Corvette bridge the other day, and that thing is just, it flies. Obviously, they've moved on to the C8 Corvette and many other forms of racing. Amy's still running that C7, which I think is a gorgeous-looking body on a Corvette anyway. Mine was white with black and loved it. Hated to see that car go. Here's Dallenbach in the Ford Mustang.
This is a little bit surprising to me here, Ralph. He's lost a lot of time to Ruman, frankly, over the course of a half a lap.
Yeah, you know, it has gone from, okay, Wally's just saving the car to, I'm not sure Wally doesn't have a problem.
Well, if we just saw on the screen there as he was up to full speed, kind of throwing his hand into the air. Also, if we watch that throttle trace, he lifted off the throttle and pushed it back down again. I don't want to have idle speculation, but I think there may be something a little bit problematic in that blue machine.
That would be a shame for the former two-time champion and now Hall of Famer. Wally getting into the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli Hall of Fame on, was that Friday night we did the induction here? And a shout out to Paul Dallenbach, Wally's younger brother, going into the Pikes Peak Hall of Fame later this year. Well done. Following in the footsteps of their legendary father, who's in just about probably every Hall of Fame, as he should be, Wally Sr. There's Adam Andretti in that 17 top-liner machine. Little slick coming out of there, coming out of 17 with Chris Dyson right on his tail. Andretti in the Camaro, Dyson in the Ford Mustang.
Well, and that's kind of what we've seen Andretti be driving like this whole race. Very, very aggressive, right on the limit of that adhesion. Winner, obviously, last year at Road Atlanta, able to take advantage of some misfortune of others. But this is, frankly, how Adam drives. He likes to drive on the limit, let that car hang out over the edge a little bit. It's just how he likes the car to be. That's how he thinks he can get the most out of it.
Chris Dyson in that Jim Weed-sponsored machine, former champion in his own right. And boy, as we said last year here, if you saw the race at the start, started on the front row on the pole, going down into turn one, got way down to the inside, went through that big bump down there, got the rear end of the car loose, and it was a mess from there.
Yeah, it really was. Heavy impact into the wall for Ernie Francis Jr. at that point. Thankfully, everybody able to walk away okay, but it really set up for what was an unpredictable season until midway through when Paul Menard started to dominate. I mean, the next couple of rounds as we went to NOLA Motorsports Park and Road Atlanta, we saw multiple winners.
Yeah, but Dyson was really just digging out of that hole ever since that moment all the way to the end of the year. End of the year this season will take place at Circuit of the Americas in November, so we got a long way to go. Hope you'll be with us throughout the season. We're going to visit basically every legendary road circuit around the country. Road Atlanta is coming up next in March, and then it's on from there. We're going to go to Barber for the first time this year in Alabama. We'll be in Road America, Mid-Ohio. We're going to Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway, Sonoma Raceway. It's going to be a stunning season. Canadian Motorsports Park, most part up outside of Toronto. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very good to see. So this battle continues on. Very excited to see these cars at Barber Motorsports Park. Hadn't been there before last year. Becoming one of my favorite venues to see a race in North America.
We're hearing the 7 car has retired. That was Keith Grant from Germantown, Tennessee, the trench shoring Motul-backed Chevy Camaro, teammate to Tommy Drissi. And that's suspension problems for him. And then also hearing that Wally Dallenbach has retired in the 4 car, transmission issues. That's why he was raising the hand.
And that would explain it. That's why he's got a little bit of going on and forward right now as they go. So very, very unfortunate for Dallenbach to have that problem. You hate to see it there, but that would explain lifting off the throttle a little bit, trying to get that transmission to engage, kind of confirming our suspicions from earlier on in the race.
Yep. Watching from our drone, you saw Dyson sweeping through, and Chris has lost some ground now to Adam Andretti.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is Andretti starting to pull away a little bit or if Dyson maybe has a little bit of an issue. Again, kind of similar to what we saw with Ruman and Dallenbach. That gap growing more than I would expect from one errant mistake.
Move up the inside here is Andretti, getting past some of the slower traffic as he works his way down the Ullman straightaway now. Looks like he's got one of the Maseratis in front of him. He should go whistling past that car before he gets to Sunset. He does, moves back over to set that lineup to get into Sunset. Here comes Dyson as well in his Ford Mustang. And Andretti's Camaros still looking pretty strong, although he's been working those rear tires pretty hard.
He's been working them very, very hard. That slipping and sliding puts a lot of lateral load into the tires, which is going to heat them up a little bit more. But the one good thing for Andretti is he frankly was able to pin Chris Dyson down in a position that he really wanted to be. Dyson got caught behind that Maserati coming into Sunset, and it's a difficult corner to overtake in. We talked about this yesterday during the TA2 race, that you think you want to go all the way to the inside, but there's really only one line through there that minimizes the bumps. And so Dyson had to hold behind, probably lost about a half a second.
This is going to be fun to watch as they were coming onto the Ullman straightaway. You got Paul Tracy just in front of Adam Andretti.
Tracy versus Andretti, that's
here they are. And Andretti gets into the inside. Oh no, that's Masoud. The cards look identical. That's Masoud, Hamad Masoud, with a great strong move in his Trans Am car inside of Tracy.
Proving me wrong there, making the pass into turn 17, making a liar out of me.
Well, no, you're correct. It is a very difficult and not a normal place to make that pass, but Paul gave him the room, and Masoud was able to take advantage of it.
Well, and I think in that position, we've got to remember those are two different classes competing against each other. So Masoud has a little bit more straight line speed, able to carry that into the corner a little bit more.
Taking a look at the number 36 machine. That's the SGT category car of Princeton, Iowa's Joshua Carlson. The Enseva Dirix Limited TC Fab Ford Mustang. Here he is, headed over into turn number 1. Let's see where he's running right now. Shown in 14th overall. There's the Viper. That Viper is that Land Search LLC Dodge Viper of Lee Saunders from nearby Lakeland, Florida. Car number 2 running in SGT. Car 84, I should say. And right now, Lee is behind Carlson in 15th. And that is not normally the car that he would be in. Normally it's that black car, but he ran that at an SCCA event and crashed it.
Yeah, always good to see a Viper here in these kind of series. But yeah, was running a couple of weeks ago in SCCA, crashed that black Viper, had this other one to fall back on, so decided to use it here and bring it out at Sebring. Hopefully we're able to see that black Viper repaired, because that is always a car that I love to see. As we take a look here at the 31 machine, Brandon Jones, the advantage originator.
Chris Dyson, Jimmy machine. Here banging down through the gearbox in the Mission, turn number 7. Now he's going to roll right back up through him. The acceleration of 900 horsepower, all going right down to their pavement here, and Sebring just trying to rotate the earth with that thing.
Yeah, and just a little bit off the ways here of Adam Andretti. I wonder if Dyson maybe made the conscious decision to back off a little bit, save the tires, and not run as close behind Adam. And that could be for twofold reasons. One, wanting to do that. Two, if you are running a little bit closer to that car in front of you, now this isn't like an open wheel category where we've got massive amounts of downforce, but there is still some significant aerodynamic effect on these cars. And if you run too close behind in that aero wake that we like to call, you're going to be slipping and sliding a lot more and use up those tires. So I wonder if Dyson's just holding back a little bit, calming the car down, and he's going to make a charge here in about 10 laps time.
Chris is a very smart race car driver. He's got a lot of laps and a lot of different forms of machinery. He's real good on race strategy, so I would bet as well that that's probably what Chris is doing. He's still running decent times with a 1:59.42 as his best. Our race leader, Brent Crews, his best time just a second quicker. So Chris hasn't lost a ton of speed at all. He's just saving those rears a little bit.
Well, and that's the thing as a driver. If you're able to be quick-ish, quick enough to compete with the drivers in front of you and be saving tires, oh, that's a golden ticket to success right there.
The gap back to Menard from Crews, 5.643. Andretti another 2 seconds back behind that. Here's Menard. There's Andretti and his top liner number 17. And there goes Dyson. Again, that last lap, just a second difference between Dyson and cars in front of him. So he's right there. Another one of the Mercedes AMG machines, an SGT. Andretti's Camaro.
And Andretti looks like he's starting to close in a little bit here on Paul Menard. This could be a battle for P2. They're only about 2 seconds away from each other. So while Crews sets the pace at the front of this field up by about 5.5 seconds. Oh, but we've got a yellow, double wave yellows.
Yes, we do. That's going to shake things up a little bit, isn't it? That almost 6-second gap that Crews had over Menard and the rest is about to evaporate in a hurry.
Yeah, this is going to be a real challenge here for Brent Crews. This is really going to test his mettle a little bit and see if he's able to build that gap over yesterday. Very reminiscent in this situation of what we saw from the TA2 race with Tyler Gonzalez having to manage all of those restarts. My other big question is going to be that battle for P2 with Adam Andretti. Is he going to be able to push a little way forward? Oh, it's Dyson into the wall.
Oh, well, it took a little bit longer than it did last year, but the same result as last year. A little bit of a fire in front of the windshield there as the hood has come completely ajar. But Chris Dyson sees the opening round just go completely away and a good points day go up in smoke.
Quite literally with that fire. And the good news is as you can see there, Dyson out of the car. The excellent rescue crews here and the safety workers from Sebring International Raceway getting to the car, putting that flame retardant on it to make sure that that fire is put out. So the good news out of that is Chris is out of the car.
Oh, there he is. Nosed into the wall.
That's a
Boy, that's a pretty big hit. Look at the damage to the right front of that car.
And is that coming through 11 and 12 on the back half of the circuit? That's kind of what it looks like. Oh, man, that car is torn up.
Boy, as much damage as that sustained, I'm glad to see Chris was able to get out and walk away because that was a heavy, heavy impact.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! Right front of that car. All
look at the K-wall behind the tires is actually ajarred.
And that is solid concrete behind that, folks. That is a very hefty impact.
Wow, that was a massive impact. Well, while they clean up the mess here, Chris Dyson's incident, we will take a quick break here on Speed Sport 1, and we'll be back with more live coverage from Sebring after this.
Is this? Look at this view from Lostowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn 140-mile-an-hour entry speeds.
The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the V-Box HD2 system.
as Boris said.
One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, look out, Miller, look out.
And we are back live here on Speed Sport 1 at Sebring International Raceway, where in 1966 the Trans-American Sedan Championship was born on a Friday afternoon in March, the Friday before that year's running of the Sebring 12 Hours, by the way, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, lots of it there, but oh man, I keep looking at that car from Dyson. My
now that they pulled it back out of the tire barrier there, you can really see the damage to the right front, especially on that car, right down on the ground. Let's learn more about what happened to Chris as we go down trackside. Here's Ben Sissel.
All right, I'm here with Stevie Dix with Jim Weed, and unfortunately, Stevie, this is 2 years in a row for just bad luck for Dyson here at the start of the season. What happened?
Yeah, the Jim Weed Ford Mustang. We were going really fast all the way to this point this weekend. Chris was out there. Everything was going to plan, and then we had a mechanical failure. Chris had to pull out and get out of the car real quick there.
But driver's okay.
Driver's fine. Driver's fine.
That's good news. Stevie Dix, legendary mechanic here in the Trans Am Series with the Jim Weed team. But then right down here, Paul Menard, last year's champion. Let's see if we can get some comments from the 3GT team. Looks like they're looking at the cars as David Pinteric comes by. I'm going to try to talk to Tony. Tony, sorry to interrupt with 3GT, but what is your driver Paul Menard saying?
He said it's hot and fast out there. It's going to be a long race, so far so good.
He won here last year at our season opener. What's his strategy? To let the race come to him? It's a long race. It's rough on these cars.
Very long race. Our intent is to save the tires, be there at the end.
Nice. Be there at the end. Gentlemen, back up to you in the booth.
All right, Ben. So glad to hear that Chris is definitely okay. Man, look at that hit. There's still a lot of fluids down over there, too. Off track, of course, but the biggest thing is making sure that that tire barrier is back in position and the wall as well.
And the Sebring safety crews there, you can see not even having to kind of hassle with a rollback here, literally just picking that up on a forklift. That car is all kinds of torn up, but as you said, the best news we've heard all day is Dyson is okay. But very interesting what we heard there out of Paul Menard's crew, kind of reiterating what we had been talking about earlier, saving the tires, letting that race come to them a little bit. Definitely some things to think about for Brent Crews.
That's pretty good driving right there by our forklift driver. I wasn't so sure that was going to get through there, was he?
I think the angle was a little bit deceptive as they had that lifted above the tires, but still, I mean, to balance it like that, credit where credit's due. That's impressive.
That was some stout wheeling of the heavy machinery there for sure. Well, the crew's going to have a lot of work to do on that before they get to Road Atlanta in March.
Yeah, a little bit of time to be able to work on it, but that's going to cost a little bit, and that's going to take a little bit as well.
And only 3 cars out before, or 2 cars out prior to that. So again, a terrible points day for Chris to begin the year.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this year, I spoke to him a little bit, and he really just wanted a points finish here this weekend. He kind of joked to me about it a little bit, but really and truly, you don't want to be starting the season digging yourself out of a hole. You want to just start with points as they are.
Yeah, you want a little momentum, right?
Yeah.
Just a little momentum. Let's go back down to Ben for another story.
Time Trans Am champion of Amy Ruman, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame just Friday night. Dave, what is she saying on the radio to you?
Well, the car's a little loose. The track is, really tough on all the equipment, and there's lots of sand that blows onto the track, so cars are really loose in the back end. But she's soldiering on, and she's actually running in 4th place now, and we're hoping it'll continue that way. So just keep creeping forward.
Nice, I love it. Well, stay with me real quick, because right down here is Nitro Motorsports with Brent Crews, and I see Jimmy live on the scene. So we're going to come to Jimmy live on the scene. Jimmy live, we're on the scene, we're live. What's Brent Crews saying in the radio?
Brent Crews is saying nothing because his mic's not working, but he doesn't have to. He can hear us, so it's all good. We're just trying to keep up the Nitro Motorsports tradition here. Dominated TA2 race yesterday with Tyler Gonzalez, and Thomas Nunziata won, and Brent, he's just cruising.
I love it. Brent just cruising. Gentlemen, back to you.
And I missed you.
All right, there's the rollback that'll take Dyson's car all the way back to the paddock area. As we continue to clear up this mess and get ready to get back to racing. Again, scheduled for 100 miles. We've completed 4 laps, it looks like, at speed. Still a lot of racing yet to go.
Yeah, it looks like they've actually moved that second forklift back there, and I wouldn't be surprised, as you pointed out, Ralph, that they probably needed that to reposition those concrete barriers behind. The biggest thing, once you make sure that the driver is safe and that there's not any immediate danger from the car, the other thing you've got to do here for these safety crews is make sure that the barriers around the track haven't been deformed, so if, God forbid, there is another incident at the same place, there is not a weak link in that safety equipment around the track.
See the double yellow still displayed around the racetrack. Ginetta's safety car out in front of the field. Well, you've heard us mention it a few times. On Friday evening, they had the inaugural induction class for the new Trans Am Hall of Fame. Some of our Hall of Famers competing with us here today, including Wally Dallenbach and Amy Ruman and Tomy. Amy Ruman and Chris Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Chris Dyson went in. There you go. Here's a look back at it. Roger Penske went in, George Fulmer went in, Dan Gurney went in, absolutely Greg Pickett, absolutely spectacular. Willie T. Ribbs, of course, Justin Bell was the MC. There's a look at everybody. John Claggett went in, Tommy Kendall, there's Paul Gentilozzi, the great George Fulmer, Willie T. and Chris Dyson, Tony Pirelli, Amy Ruman, and Ernie Francis went in as well.
Yeah, Francis obviously able to take a couple of those victories. Also, Lynn St. James inducted in as well. She served as our Grand Marshal yesterday. A really wonderful ceremony to be a part of. It's one of those events that you just kind of walked in the door and you recognize the history and the legends that were in that room.
I want to make sure we mention Parnelli Jones, too. I don't know if we got Parnelli's name mentioned there. PJ went in as well. All right, back to Ben.
I'm with my good friend Xavier Willis here, a jack of all trades. He's like crewman extraordinaire for those 2 Maseratis, Chris Coffey, Colin Cohen. But he's got a great battle out there with Fitzpatrick in that Aston Martin. What's he saying on the radio, Xavier?
Absolutely. But overall, he's being pretty calm overall, you know, not really panicking, just, you know, keeping his cool and running, you know, trying to stay ahead of the game.
Now, last year's GT champion, does he like having this stiff competition like he has today?
Absolutely. You know, he thrives on it, you know. For the most part, that's what he's looking for, stiff competition.
All right, well, gentlemen, back up to you.
All right, Ben. You see the black and the white of Paul Tracy's machine. Got to congratulate him and his new wife, Lisa. They got married this past week. Had a brief honeymoon and finishing up that honeymoon here at Sebring.
That sounds like a pretty good honeymoon to me to end things with a little bit of racing. But very, very happy nuptials to Paul. It's wonderful to see him getting married, and we wish him and his new wife all the best.
Absolutely. Good look at the Viper. Backside of that car, that green machine. of Lee Saunders from Lakeland, Florida. Well, they're continuing to clean things up from the Dyson incident, so we will take the opportunity to take care of some more business. And we will return to Sebring International Raceway for more of our live coverage of the season opener for Trans Am here on Speed Sport 1.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship, so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back live on Speed Sport 1 here from the legendary Sebring International Raceway. Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Kicking off the 2025 championship season. Field making their way down into Sunset. Looks like our emergency response vehicles are making their way back to their position. Looks like maybe one more lap and hopefully we'll be green.
And there wow. That is a hit.
Yeah,
folks.
and you can see, based on the amount of damage, the ferociousness of the impact, right? But you also see how the safety designed into the car worked. As pieces came off, dissipating energy, but the crush zones were there. It might have crushed and knocked stuff off, but it stopped at the firewall and didn't get to the driver.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that we always say.
Oh, we have another one.
That's the number 57 machine. That's David Pintarek.
Didn't hear about that.
No. It's a little bit unfortunate there for David, obviously.
We're hearing that Tomy Drissi is going to go to the back of the field due to a penalty on this restart. Looks like Tomy has slotted in there. And we're going to touch base with Ben one more time.
Thank you very much. We just saw David Pintarek, the number 57 car, one of my favorite drivers in the series. And wasn't with us last season, so not a great start to this season, but I heard rear suspension damage, maybe a trailing arm broke on that one. But I've got the mad scientist of the Trans Am series here with me, Claudio Burton with the Adam Andretti car. Adam had kind of a shunt yesterday, so we weren't sure about today, but he looks great. What's he saying, Claudio?
He's not saying a whole lot right now. He's a little beat up from yesterday. Took a 78G hit on the computer, so a little hospital trip, but he checked out good and he felt good and he wanted to race. So he's a driver and a racer, and he's going after him.
Now you have a different approach to a TA car. You've been working on this a long time. I know you're a scientist by trade, a mad scientist, mind you. And last year,
so mad on that one.
No, I know. There's mad. You're mad. You know that. And then you've been working on this and developing it. Is this your year for a championship?
Well, we hope so. You know, we didn't really have a lot of budget to test the car, so we've been testing it every race, basically. And here again, we were trying a little different diff in the practice session. It wasn't good. We switched back to what we knew. Car woke up, and yeah, it's the design of the car is the intent to be best at the end of the race, so that it doesn't lose balance like a traditional TA car.
Nice, I love it. The top liner, spray-on bed liner, Claudio Burton. Gentlemen, back up to you in the booth.
Thank you, Ben. Boy, 78 Gs.
That is a very, very large hit for Andretti, and very, very happy that he is okay. And it's really a testament to that racing spirit that he has, that he's back in the car here today. I'm not sure if I would be able to do that.
No, that would be that'd be a beating on the body for sure. Field making its way out onto the Ullman Straight. Drissi tagging the back. And looks like we're coming to green. Lights are off on the Ginetta safety car. Field is lining up behind Brent Crews. Paul Menard right behind him. Last year's winner of this race, last year's champion. Paul Tracy heating up the hides back there. Trying to put a little heat in those tires, those Pirellis. See how good Crews is on the restart here. See if he can get himself a little ground.
Didn't have the best initial start. This could be back around to it. We'll have to see how he does.
Waiting and waiting on that green. It comes out a little late just before they get to the start-finish line. And we are racing, and look at this. Menard swinging to the outside. Crews trying to fend him off at the line to the inside, coming down into turn number one. Tracy cuts over just in front of Kaylee Bryson as she pulls the Corvette up the inside, gets around the Maserati. That was a strong move by Kaylee.
That was a very strong move by Kaylee. She tries to get it to go. Menard trying to fight his way through right now. Looks like Crews was able to fend him off, and now Bryson moving her way forward onto the back of the next car. Oh, that's a little bit wide there from the 31 of Brandon Jones.
She is giving Paul Tracy everything he can handle right now, and Crews cannot shake Menard yet as we get to Mission Foods turn number 7. And Andretti right there and Ruman right there. So Amy got through some of the slower. Oh, contact between Bryson and Tracy.
Just a little bit of a side bonk there between the two of them. Looks like Bryson's going to lose that opportunity, but Tracy knows she's there now and that she is on the attack. She wants this top position in XGT.
Here comes Menard filling up the mirrors of Crews's Camaro. That Pittsburgh paints back Ford Mustang. Paul Menard and Adam Andretti, Amy Ruman. So we got Chevy, Ford, Chevy, and Chevy up front here. A couple of Camaros, a Mustang, and a Corvette. Sounds like Trans Am, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Watch Adam Andretti here on the back straightaway. He may be one to keep an eye for, as Paul Tracy's gotten back around Kaylee Bryson there.
And if you're just tuning in here live on Speed Sport 1, trying to figure out exactly what that car is that Paul Tracy is driving, the International Race Cars IRC entry. From the front, it looks like a Camaro. From the side, it looks like a Ford Mustang. So no surprise if you weren't able to figure out exactly what PT is driving here today. This current generation of that car, they've done some continuous evolution to the design of that machine, and all based off of an Australian V8 supercar.
Love to see that kind of crossover among racing series. Obviously, we've seen a lot of that in recent years, notably Shane Van Gisbergen and Scott McLaughlin making the jump over. Oh, car spun around. That's the number 49 of Patrick Utz.
That's the TA2 car.
Yep.
That has been changed to meet the specs and run in SGT. Looks like we're going to stay green. Kaylee's under attack here. Coming up the inside, that Ford Mustang number 31. That car belonging to Brandon Jones out of Atlanta, Georgia.
And that's not a battle for position. Jones running in the TA class, Kaylee running in the XGT category, but she's going to want to try to hold on to the back of him, maybe get a little bit of that draft, try to get up behind Paul Tracy as much as possible.
Well, and Jones, he's a great story here today. Let's see, where do they have him listed right now? They have Brandon battling with Kaylee over 7th position. But Jones, of course, is also running in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He was busy yesterday over at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Finished up his racing there where he crossed the finish line in 13th. Flew down here immediately. He started from the back of the field, of course, because of being late and missing qualifying and all that sort of stuff. But he is having a great run here so far this afternoon. We're expecting more out of him before the day is done.
Well, and I love seeing that out of Cup drivers as well as Xfinity and Truck Series drivers coming over to the TA2 and the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli to really get more of that road racing experience, get a little bit of the feel of what it's like to be racing on some of America's great road racing circuits. We're seeing more and more, obviously Connor Zillage kind of being the poster child of all of that.
Yeah, and it's that younger generation that grew up sim racing and karting and that sort of thing, as opposed to a couple of generations back where guys like Jimmy Spencer or Rick Mast, people like that, just did not grow up road racing. They grew up driving Novels. Menard.
Oh, there's a problem for
strong,
Crews.
and we have definitely got a problem for Crews as he slows way down at the entrance to Mission Foods Turn 7, and he is off course. Wonder if he overdid it. Maybe the car just has given up the ghost.
Oh, but once again, it's the Nitro Motorsports curse here at this point. We saw this yesterday from Tyler Gonzalez. Crews has parked the car. Something wrong there for that number 70.
That Chevy Camaro was so strong, and now the Ford Mustang finds itself back at the front with another Camaro breathing down its neck. That Camaro belonging to Adam Andretti.
All right, game on for now the lead of the race. We heard Paul Menard, we heard Adam Andretti, both their crew chiefs, both of them talking about how these cars were really set up and designed looking towards the end of the race, particularly with Andretti. The whole concept of the car was to keep it as good as possible late on in the race. Well,
22
did it best.
22 minutes left in this one. Andretti sure doesn't seem to be losing any time either, does he?
No,
they scream across the start-finish line here. The gap is just 0.4 of a second between the two. Menard running a 1:59.2, and Adam Andretti a 1:59.7.
It's pretty close pace. We'll have to see just if Adam's going to be able to close this on in. He's pushing, kicking up some dirt there on the exit of turn 4.
See that. Well, you're not going to have to encourage Adam much to get the speed up a little bit. He's always got a little more in the tank if he has to.
Not sure if there was a little bit of dirt on the track there, or maybe just the merest hint of a lockup, but there was definitely a little bit puff of something coming off of Paul Menard down into Mission Foods Turn 7.
Here's our Viper. Again, a backup Viper, not the normal one for the league. Normally being black. It's a new paint scheme, a new look for Paul Menard. Takes a bit of a second to get used to seeing it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. He obviously ran in that pretty iconic now 31 livery, the Menards Master Force, but Pittsburgh Paint, the new primary sponsor, that of course being the Menard's in-house brand of paint. So he's able to bring that sponsorship on board. And yeah, it's a little bit different to take a look at, but it is a very pretty car. Kind of camouflaged a little bit in the way that those colors are arranged. Very striking and looks better and better the closer you get to it.
You know where it looks good? Out front.
And it does.
And it's doing a good job of that today. I'm sure Paul thinks it's a beautiful car right now, as he should. And if it keeps running like it is today, it's going to quickly become a very iconic color scheme.
Yes, it is. And Menard here, credit where he's doing, that they are, he is growing that gap. It was about 0.4 of a second a lap ago. It's grown up to 0.8 of a second. I don't know if he's pushing full out, but we'll see.
Here's a pretty good fight developing back here. We have Paul Tracy. PT's got Brandon Jones right on his tail. Brandon, having started at the tail end of the field after finishing 13th yesterday, the NASCAR Xfinity Series race up in Atlanta, has now found himself in 7th and pushing Tracy for 6th. That's an impressive run.
It's a very, very impressive run for him.
And here's Drissi. Drissi, remember, got shuffled all the way to the back due to a penalty. And Tomy now, where they showed Tomy. Tommy's up to 5th.
Wow. I think Tomy Drissi's got a little bit of speed, got a little bit of something to prove underneath that black machine.
Former champion of the series, Tomy Drissi, and if you've ever been to the movie theaters, you see those giant cutouts around the theater promoting movies. That's Tomy Drissi's business. That's what he does. I got to see if he's got one of those for the new Led Zeppelin movie.
Oh, I would.
That would be the one I would want. He can keep the one for Mission Impossible or whatever else is coming out this summer. I want the one from the new Led Zeppelin movie.
I could make my fiance very happy and get her the Wicked one, maybe. That'd make her over the moon.
There you go. Tomy Drissi having fun. He'll be back out in historic Trans Am coming up a little later in the Chaparral Camaro, legendary car. There's Tomy on the backside of Masood. As they're on to the Ullman straightaway, and then you see that battle between PT and Jones back there right behind him. Drissi to the inside, entering Sunset, clears him, and Tomy Drissi gets around Masood. That puts him 4th.
That's a good run and a good pass there by Tomy Drissi. Just knew he had the overspeed, able to carry it down into Sunset and make it play. They'll cross the line here with 4 laps left to go.
We haven't talked much about Amy Ruman outside when we've seen her on camera, but she is up to 3rd. She got a break with Dyson getting knocked out, and then we see the problems with Crews. But credit to her for being in position to take advantage of those opportunities. Put that Corvette 3rd. She could be on the podium today.
It's very similar to what we saw her do last year at this exact race. Just drive consistent, fast laps. We didn't see a lot of necessarily battling with her this race as we see her on screen there, but that's half the art of driving in a competitive environment, just making sure you're in position to take advantage.
Well, and look, that Corvette, older generation, might not have the outright speed that Paul Menard's machine has or Brent Crews' machine has, but she's got the racecraft to get herself good points days throughout the course of the season. And that's how you win the championship at the end, as she has done in the past.
Well, it's like we talked about yesterday during the TA2 race. It's not about, well, it is partially about who can win the most races to take a championship, but the real key is maximizing your worst days. If your worst day is a podium performance here for Amy Ruman, I'll tell you what, that means it's a good shot for a championship again.
So Tracy and Jones are reeling in the backside of Masood right now. Masood in that Ford Mustang, the Allgram backed entry, number 21. There's one of the Maseratis you caught a glimpse of. And this is a fight for 5th. 3 cars going for 5th. Can you imagine if Jones comes here, starts tail end of the field after finishing 13th yesterday in the Xfinity race in Atlanta and gets a top 5? Wow.
I'd say that's a pretty darn good weekend for
I'd say
Brandon
we'll see
Jones.
it Road Atlanta is what I'd say, right?
I would too.
Yes, you can come back and play again. That would be pretty strong. So it's Menard, Andretti, Ruman, Drissi, Masood, Jones, Tracy, Kaylee Bryson up to 8th. She's in the top 10. Billy Griffin has his Mercedes AMG running in 9th, with Danny Lowry in his Mercedes AMG right behind him in 10th. Then it's Carlson, DeGaynor in a Ford Mustang, Lee Saunders in the Viper in 13th, Patrick Utt in his Chevy Camaro in 14th, and 15th is Chris Coffey. Then Fitzpatrick, Cohen, I believe they're still running, Crews, Dyson, Pinteric, Dallenbach, Bakur, Grant, and Lindstrom all out of the event.
Yeah, a little bit, I wouldn't say surprising, but unfortunate to have this many drivers out of this race, especially early on. But let's remember the old adage that is said about Sebring International Raceway. It's harder to race 12 hours at Sebring than it is to race 24 at Daytona. This track is old school. This track is bumpy. It is brutal. It is a physical test on the car and on the driver. And so completing a race here is definitely something to hang your hat on, as our leader is coming up on a little bit of lap traffic.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're right about that. Menard working Utt. In that former Trans TA2 car. And Andretti will clear him as well as they come across the start-finish line. So we've got just a couple of laps remaining here. Where does Andretti have the best shot, do you think, of getting and catching and then getting around Menard?
Well, I think here for him, he may have just started to build his best opportunity. That caught a little bit of Paul Menard a little bit off coming around up there into Sunset Bend. It put him back in the order a little bit, back into the clutches of Adam Andretti. We could see a run here. I would be keeping my eye out going into Bennett Bridge Hall turn 15 and 16. That's been the sneak attack area. If Adam is able to get a good run coming through this back half of the circuit, we may see something there.
Caught a glimpse of Fitzpatrick, Mike Fitzpatrick in the Aston Martin GT4. That's the 89X Motorsports entry. Looks like he is running second in GT, 16th overall. Clear racetrack in front of these two for now. See if it stays that way all the way to the finish as they come out. They're over on the backside of the racetrack here. There's our Viper. And the lime green. Out onto the Ullman straight.
Not quite close enough here to take advantage for Adam Andretti. If he's going to do this, he's going to have to do it on outright pace.
About a half a second gap between the two. See if we get the white flag this time by or not. Menard's Ford Mustang skipping through the final corner. And there's the white flag. 1 to go here at Sebring.
All right, game on, race on for this lead. The gap as they cross over the line, 7.5 tenths of a second. Can Adam Andretti close it in?
Now as we wind this one down, don't touch the dial on Speed Sport 1 as soon as this is over. We're going to have historic Trans Am coming up live from here as well, which was a thrilling finish yesterday. All right, what can Adam Andretti do here as they make their way towards Mission Foods turn number 7? Drissi has caught Amy Ruman. That's going to be a good battle to the line. Here we go, Mission Foods turn number 7, hard on the brakes. Menard first one there. Easy through. Andretti slips the rear a little bit, fighting for traction.
I think what Paul Menard has to do here to close this race down is just keep a good line. There's Kaylee Bryson working her way through a little bit of traffic.
Kaylee having a good run. She's in the top 10. She's got a pair of Mercedes AMGs pushing her. Here come our race leaders heading over towards the Ullman straightaway. Menard still out in front. Doesn't look like the gap has changed too much just yet. Couple more corners. The long straightaway down into Sunset. Maserati and the Aston, they're going to have one more tour around the Sebring circuit to go. Here's Menard. Andretti fighting to catch him. Wants one shot coming off of 17. Not sure car 17 has it. They ran a 2:04.5 to a 2:04.6 on that last lap, just a tenth of a second between the two, but about a half a second gap as they enter Sunset Bend. Last year, Paul Menard won this race and went on to win the 2024 Trans Am Series by Pirelli Championship. In 2025, he checks the first box as he comes the line to win here today at the season opener at Sebring. Adam Andretti with a tremendous performance. Battles through to finish second here this afternoon. Here comes the rest of the field. Amy Ruman looking for a top three. Tommy Drissi pushing. This is a fight for the final podium position. There's Ut in the 49. He's lapped down to Amy. There's Ruman, that red Corvette. She's going to be up on the podium here this afternoon at Sebring as well. Congrats to her as she gets Ut right at the line. Drissi, who had been penalized to the tail of the field. What an impressive run for Tommy. Almost gets third, ends up fourth.
Yeah, it looked like there that I think he may have made a mistake on that last lap, maybe forcing him back a little bit from Ruman, but an impressive drive nonetheless.
And PT, Paul Tracy, fights off Jones all the way to the finish, and they will finish with Tracy, I believe, in sixth. Jones in seventh after finishing again. We'll tell you the story. He was 13th yesterday in the NASCAR Xfinity race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hustles down here to Sebring, starts tail of the field, and a great run just outside the top five.
Yeah, good stuff there for them. Love that from Paul Menard. Glove off already, giving a big wave to the fans gathered around the circuit.
Rest of the field crossing the line, closing out the day. It looks like in GT, Paul Tracy, of course, will get the class win. That's XGT. Tracy gets the class win. Kaylee Bryson will be second. Billy Griffin will be third. Danny Lowry would be fourth. GT1 goes to Jon DeGaynor. SGT goes to Josh Carlson with Lee Saunders and Patrick Utt rounding out the podium there. GT is going to be Chris Coffey, Mike Fitzpatrick, and Colin Cohen. Maserati, Aston Maserati. And that should take care of the top three in each of our divisions here, as well with Trans Am, which is Menard, Andretti, and Ruman.
Good racing across the board. Great to see this GT1 category coming on in, a new catch-all category for GT cars.
Okay, you got the Ullman straightaway to tell me what you take away from this as we set up for Road Atlanta.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we've got to keep in mind here is that we're going to see a similar setup to what we saw last year. Menard's got the advantage. Everybody's going to be chasing him. But I think the likes of Dyson and Crews are going to be the real challengers this year. They've got to be careful. Dare I say Dyson overdrove the car a little bit in Road Atlanta last year, put him further on the back step. Menard is in the position he wants to be.
Don't count out Tommy Drissi.
No.
It's very early. He's got a brand new car, brand new sponsors, teammate ready to go. That car to go from the tail end of the field to finish fourth, one spot off the podium, that's a stout race car, and we know he's a championship-winning driver.
I think you and I had this conversation before we went on the air. I think there's legitimately 5, maybe 6 drivers that can win this championship. Menard, Andretti, Crews, Dyson, Drissi.
Now, Tracy is not scheduled to run the whole season right now in that IRC car, but they said, you know what, if we're in the thick of things coming out of Road Atlanta, you never just know. Well, they're looking pretty good here today with a class win. And just outside the top 5 overall.
I'm particularly excited to see what can happen if Kaylee Bryson didn't have that qualifying penalty where she changed tires. If she was able to start up with Paul Tracy, I think we would have saw a scrap for the ages.
She is definitely got some speed in her in that Corvette. That's going to be a fun one to watch all season long as well. All right, we're going to be making our way over to the Jim Weed Winner's Circle, where we're going to have Ben Sissel waiting. Looks like our drone is flying over there now. As the last few cars make their way to the Jim Weed Winner's Circle.
trippy.
They're going to come
once we got
Just doesn't get that high to do the good one.
No, that's all right. What are they showing right now?
Now we just need to go to JR and
whenever you're ready.
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Winner's Circle. Hold on. Let's get all the Menards together because that was quite a cool moment there. Paul Menard won here last year and then won the championship. And now wins here again. Different livery, the Pittsburgh Paints and Stains. And I believe that's exclusive to Menards.
That's right. Yeah, really proud to have Pittsburgh Paints and Stains on the car this year. They've been a supporter of mine throughout the years, off and on, and to have them back, feels like home. So, battle out there. That was a dogfight. Brent definitely had the pace on us. Definitely had some mechanical gremlin show up practice and things, and something happened. I saw a puff of smoke, then he pulled off. So, class act. We ran side by side a little bit and gave each other room. And Adam was really fast on the long run. I could take off, but kind of same story as last year. We lose the rear really bad throughout the race. So we get to work a little bit and figure that out. But all in all, really fast car, really fast Mustang, and I got a little work to do, but we'll go to Atlanta and do it again.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? The mark of a true champion. He's like, tomorrow.
We'll debrief tonight and go through some good notes, and really proud of my guys. They worked their butts off this weekend. Had 2 cars this weekend with Brandon Jones, and I think he kept it clean and learned a lot for his NASCAR career. So good weekend.
Nice. Now, Bo, Remy, happy. I know your dad never showed how happy he really is, but are you guys happy?
Not really surprised.
But I'm not really surprised. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great crowd here. You guys are welcome in here. Unbelievable. Come on in. But we're talking about pro racers like Paul Menard, and we've got what I say, elite pro racers like Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy, let's get by this car. I was talking to you yesterday. Welcome back to Trans Am, by the way, but I'm used to seeing you in TA2 with Doug Peterson. This IRC car came to VIR to go through tech, and it became the talk of the paddock. But Paul, what in the world is this thing?
Well, this is basically a hybrid of an Australian supercar. So the Australian supercars are very similar now to the Cup cars, but insanely expensive to run that series. It's like running Cup in Australia. So a group of guys built this car based around that, but made it a lot cheaper to run. It's got a production LS3 motor in it. You can buy from the dealership, a good sequential gearbox, and it's just a low maintenance, really fast car for a beginner guy to learn how to race with.
Nice. So first place, Extreme GT, first time in Extreme GT for Paul Tracy. How does it feel?
Feels great. I mean, it's there's some great gentleman drivers here with really nice GT3 cars, Mercedes AMGs, and those cars they're high, super high dollar, and this car's in the $200,000 range. So we came out here to show what this car could do, and it performs phenomenal.
Unbelievable. So in the $200,000 range, and you're out there outperforming outperforming everybody. That's great.
Yeah, no, we're really proud of what the team's been able to do, and we found a good home with these guys here in Trans Am to come out and run. Hopefully we can do some more. We're going to go to Road Atlanta, and hopefully we can do some more after that.
Nice. Well, we need Paul Tracy in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. So let's get some help to this IRC car so we can see Paul Tracy some more. Let me go try to find some more drivers here. Carlson, come here, man. Joshua Carlson here with Super GT. Josh, where did you finish?
I won.
Nice. Super GT wins for Josh Carlson. How was it out there, Josh?
It was good. The car handled good. We were at Sebring last year, so we were able to get a good baseline in for this race. We just kind of grew off of it and ran pretty good and won.
Nice. I love it. Well, then, my friend Jon DeGaynor, he raced with us in Trans Am last year in this Ron Fellows car. We developed a new class. First time with GT1 in Trans Am. You finished the race at Sebring, which is a win in itself. How does it feel, John?
It feels great. I'm a little bit sore, but it feels great. It was really proud to bring the car out here and represent the new class and do a good job with the Trans Am team.
Nice. I love it. John, congratulations. Then from 89X Motorsports, first time in Trans Am, that beautiful black Aston Martin. Mike Fitzpatrick, how does it feel?
Feels awesome. It was a fantastic day. Weather held out, Sebring. Competition, that restart was hairy, but my hat goes off to all the TA drivers. It was crazy going back into 3, but it was no contact, so I appreciate that. I really like everybody here at the series. We'll definitely be back. The 89X Aston Martin ran flawlessly all weekend long, and the competition was great. So really, my hat's off to Trans Am. We look forward to coming back, and it was fantastic.
Nice. Now, we were speaking earlier, but 89X has 4 or 5 more cars that could compete in the Trans Am Series. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. What we're hoping to do is grow with Trans Am. We'd love to put 2 cars in SGT and 2 cars in GT. We've got lots of opportunities for customers out there. It's a great series. It's really aggressive, but it's really safe and really fun too. So definitely want to invite anybody who wants to come in, get into an Aston Martin full factory race car, come talk to us and get involved with Trans Am.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Lucas, come follow me here because I see the new president of the
The next event coming your way in March at Road Atlanta. It's going to be a great one. We hope to see you there as we close out our season opener here in Sebring. It will be March 20th and the 23rd at Mission Foods Road Atlanta SpeedTour event there at Michelin Road Atlanta Raceway. Want to thank our friends at Live Race Media for providing all of our coverage here today that you've seen on Speed Sport 1. For DJ Clark and Ben Sissel, I'm Ralph Sheheen. Congratulations to our winner in Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli and our new points leader, the 2024 champion, as we make our way to Road Atlanta, Paul Menard. Well, DJ, final thought.
I think this is going to be another season for Paul Menard and to watch out for. I hope Paul Tracy's able to make more than just one race, but as I said earlier, maybe a 5-car battle here up for the top of this category in the TA class. Menard looked really good. Andretti looked really good. Obviously, the likes of Dyson and Crews and Drissi are going to be up there as well. This is going to be one where I think you're going to have to tune into every single race because I think every one of them is going to be a nail-biter. Every one of them is going to be as close as we saw this weekend. And I don't think we're going to know the victor of this series until we go to Circuit of the Americas.
I think you're right. That'll be in November. But for now, it's Paul Menard standing atop the points and the top step of the podium as we wrap up the weekend here for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the legendary Sebring International Raceway. Fans all watching the activities over there in the Jim Weed Winner's Circle. And with that, we will say good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ralph Sheheen. So long. Thanks for watching on Speed Sport 1.
cool to have you on the podium, sir. Quite an honor. Nice job. And then in first place, last year's GT champion, starting on the top step. Come on, Sebring, get loud. Chris Coffey. Now, hold on, Andy. You're going to like this. Chris Coffey has a little tradition. Give us a little nature boy here. Woo! Nice. How about that? A little Ric Flair. All right, Colin Cohen, all the way from Dallas. What a great time out there. We have some fancy cars. The GT classes are starting to grow. I absolutely love it. How was your race?
It was a great race to the extent I saw anybody. But to that, I'd like to say to the Trans Am guys, the TA guys, thank you. Thank you very much for your consideration and help. I've made a great event for me. Thank you.
Nice. I love it. How about that? Colin Cohen. Then we're going to come over here. Mike Fitzpatrick, 89X. How was your race out there?
Again, fantastic. Again, it was great to be here with Trans Am. Competition was certainly great. My hat goes off to Chris and all the fans out here, so we appreciate the support. Looking forward to doing a whole bunch more.
Nice. How about that? And your shop is right here, is that correct?
We've got a brand new facility 1 mile from the track here, so anybody needs anything, but we look forward to being here all the time, so thank you.
Nice. All right, Chris Coffey, take the mic and tell us about your race out there.
Well, that race was pretty awesome. This guy right here kept me honest from start to finish. I mean, we were basically nose to tail the whole way. It was absolutely incredible, and I can't thank my crew enough, Alex and Xavier. We worked all night last night. We tried to set up change and ended up damaging the car in the process, and we didn't really know what we had to start the race, and thankfully we got it right back to where it was. So I got to thank my wife Morgan, my son Sam, Colin here. He makes all this possible for me, so I can't thank him enough, and this is absolutely incredible, and I'm glad to start the year off right.
Nice. There we go. Come on now, get loud, Sebring. GT class, a little Ric Flair there. Hold those trophies up. Colin Cohen, Mike Fitzpatrick, and Chris Coffey starting the season off well. Mike Fitzpatrick, we hope to see you back in the Trans Am Series. Great driving, beautiful car. Are you guys having fun? Now, immediately following this, you hear those historic Trans Am cars warming up. They're going to be in pit lane for a fan walk, and those are cars that actually raced in the series. But let's talk about modern Trans Am right here with Colin Cohen, Mike Fitzpatrick, and Chris Coffey. Hold that trophy up, Colin. And then you guys got to get loud if you want some hats. Come on now. Again, a huge shout out to Sebring International Raceway for providing this fantastic weather. Oh, look at Colin. Colin wants to drink it. Very nice, very nice. Hey, gentlemen, congratulations. That was some great racing out there. Beautiful cars. Super GT. This is a great category. So, third place in his TA2 car. First time in Super GT. Let's hear it. My good friend Patrick Utt with that safe quip. Beautiful car with TRB Autosport. And then, second place. I haven't seen him in this car. He is a many-time Super GT champion. Let's hear it from the state of Florida, Lee Saunders. And then, there was a tough fight for the championship last year in Super GT. He decided to change the livery on the car, and now he's on the top step. Let's hear it for Joshua Carlson. All the way from the heart of the Midwest, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Utt, so excited to talk to you, man. On the podium here at the Trans Am Series, I know you've loved this series for a long time. This has got to feel good. Tell us about your race.
Well, they told me to go to the podium, and I said, how do I get there? So it's a new experience for me. Love the Trans Am Series. Happy to be here. I spun early on in the race and was at the back end of the field just trying to catch up, and there was a caution, so I caught up. I caught Lee. I did get by him. It was kind of a gutsy thing. I was probably overdriving a bit, trying to stay ahead of him, and I ended up spinning again at one. So, but I was able to hang on for third.
Nice. How about that? How about the honesty there with the race quib car of Patrick Utt? Nice job, Patrick. Proud of you, man. Nice job. TRB Autosport. Lee Saunders, you and Josh, and Kaylee had a great battles last year, and it looks like it's still going to stay the same. I'm not used to seeing you in that car, but how was your race out there?
Hey, thank you. First of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for this wonderful day, this beautiful country we live in, and the ability, the absolute just blessing that we get to come out here and have this kind of fun. Yeah, it definitely a continuation of last year. Josh's car is flying. Hats off to him. It's really, really fast. And we had a little accident with our car, so we're trying to figure this one out for a race or two. But KSR, the guys from KSR, CJ and Eddie, they worked their butt off for about a week and a half to get this thing ready, and hopefully we'll get it figured out a little bit, and maybe we can give Josh a little bit more of a challenge. But just had a great time with everybody out here in the class, and so much fun. Thank you so much.
Nice. How about that, Lee Saunders, ladies and gentlemen? And Josh, I have to ask, is blue faster?
You can take the mic.
I would say, yeah. I mean, we took away the neon and then we started winning. So I would say, I think that, added a couple horsepower to the car and a little more aerodynamic. So I was very happy to be able to win this race and dominate through most of the weekend. We had a good baseline going this week, and we built off of it and was able to secure the win. Thanks to Insiva for coming back on board this year, and JCR Holdings, Altest Inc., TC Fab, Dirks LTD. I wouldn't be able to race without their support, my family for being super supportive. Shout out to my barber, Alex, the Alley Cat. He's watching the stream. And hopefully we can develop his car a little bit more. I hope I can, start racing a little bit closer with him later in the season. And congrats on Patrick Utt for the first Trans Am podium. That's pretty exciting. And yeah.
Perfect. Come on now, get loud. Joshua Carlson on the top step. Then we have Lee Saunders, Patrick Utt. Hold those trophies up. Nice, I like that. I like this crowd. Keep it up, Sebring. Even the 3GT crowd is clapping for us. I like that. All right, Sebring, SpeedTour. Woo-hoo! Look out, Chris. Get loud. Patrick Utt, Lee Saunders, Joshua Carlson. Here at Sebring International Raceway, where there is a ton of Trans Am history. Then, all right. Apple for Carlson.
Hang on. Yeah.
Carlson, how old are you? 20. Oh, we know whose eyes are getting sprayed now. Go for it, gentlemen. Let's hear it, Sebring. Ooh, Patrick Utt. I like that. Ooh, right into the eyes of the competitors. Come on, let's hear it one more time for Super GT. Where is Kevin? All right, I need a big round of applause. Kevin from the Make-A-Wish Foundation loves motorsports. Kevin obviously is a fighter, and he wants to be a race car driver. Hold on, come. You guys are excused. Sorry about that. You are going to be our trophy presenter with the legend Andy Lowry for Extreme GT. How does that feel, Kevin?
Feels great. Feels great to be up here.
Have you ever met a winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona?
No.
Well, you have now. This is the legend Andy Lowry. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin from Make-A-Wish Foundation. All right, you're going to help hand out the trophies, Kevin. In third place, sorry, I held up two. It's been a long day. Third place in Extreme GT in that beautiful Mercedes. Where is Billy Griffin? Let's get loud for Billy Griffin. Billy Griffin, I believe, a two-time GT champion, now in Extreme GT. This lady I've been so impressed with the last couple of seasons. She won the SGT championship, so now she decided to move to the Extreme GT championship. Let's hear it for Kaylee Bryson. How about that? Now, the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, we have a ton of pro drivers. We've got some great drivers here, but this driver, I would say, is a pro elite driver. Also, one of my favorite commentators, driving this IRC Liquid Moly car all the way from Australia. Let's hear it for Paul Tracy. PT, the legend. Now, the car is from Australia. PT is from Canada. Kevin, You just met what I consider an Indy 500 winner in Paul Tracy. How does that feel?
It feels amazing.
Nice. Am I allowed to say that? I know you like that. All right, Billy Griffin, third place, Extreme GT. How's it feel out there?
It felt good. I just wish it stayed green. I thought maybe I might have something if he got a little loose at the end, but Kaylee had a brilliant restart. I'd like to thank Danny Bridgehall Bennett for making this opportunity possible. Danny has one rule: don't hit my car with the other car. I did it twice. So
did you really?
I did, yep. So
where is Danny?
I don't know. He's probably at the trailer getting ready to beat me up or something. So, but I'd like to thank everybody here. I love this place. I love Trans Am. This is definitely my home. So thank you, everybody at Trans Am. Thank you for having this opportunity.
Did you enjoy your last race with Danny Lowry's car?
Yeah, well, actually, I own it now, so he can't take it away from me anymore. So it's mine. So, but I do have to fix it a little bit. Maybe fix his. We'll be at my body shop next week, I guess.
Nice.
Thank you.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Billy Griffin, multiple champion in GT class. Kaylee Bryson, you just keep breaking that glass ceiling. How was it out there?
Yeah, that was a lot. We had to start 23rd, so I had my work cut out for me, and I was like, thank goodness we had a caution. That really saved our race. But we had a really good restart and kind of got up to second and really had a good battle with these guys. And that was a lot of fun. And running XGT, this car is probably 8 seconds faster than what I'm used to. So I had my hands full just trying to learn that and learn the car. This car's so quick, so I'm trying to keep up with it. But huge thanks to LSI for the opportunity to come and run this car, and the crew for working their tails off making this car fast. It's been a really fun weekend. I'm looking forward to a really fun year.
Nice. Kaylee Bryson, ladies and gentlemen. And it is my honor as a longtime fan to hand the mic to Paul Tracy. Paul, tell us about your race.
It was great. All thanks to the guys from IRC for inviting me out here to come test this car for them. We're really just trying to get it up to speed and get used to it and see how it performs at these Trans Am events. But you know, what a great event Tony Pirelli has put on. He's built this series up, and you see the amount of cars here and the enthusiasts and the people racing everything from the big TA cars all the way down to the sportsman stuff. It's just great to see, and we're looking forward to next week. And had a great race. You're aggressive. I like that. But I've had a great week. Got married a week ago to my wife, Lisa, and she said, where are we going on our honeymoon? I said, Sebring. She said, where? I said, Sebring. She goes, where's that? I said, it's in the middle of Florida. She goes, oh, okay. So congrats to everybody.
Nice. Nice. And I'll ask you after Atlanta if you still like her aggressive racing. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, newly married Paul Tracy, Kaylee Bryson, Billy Griffin. Let's have a big round of applause. Some legends here today. All right, come on now. There's some great music happening over there. We need to get loud. Let's hear it. Billy Griffin, Kaylee Bryson, Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy on the top step in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. That's just cool for me to be able to say. I love that. Uh-oh. Kaylee, how old are you? 23. There we go. You're legal. How about that round of applause? Nobody's spraying each other. That looks like a brand new suit for Paul Tracy, so he didn't want to get that dirty. All right, come on now. You guys welcome off. Nice job. Paul, lovely having you in the series, man. Seriously. Kaylee, nice job. GT1, a brand new class in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Unfortunately, only one car, but man, hard-fought battle. He's been here the last couple times with us. He's racing in Group 6, 6GT. He's a winner in Group 6 this weekend. Let's hear it. Jon DeGaynor racing the legend Ron Fellows car, the Hall of Famer Ron Fellows car. Come on now, get loud. Jon DeGaynor. Oh, Jon. Careful. All right. Man, I'm so proud of you. Nice job. Sebring is so rough. Take the mic. Tell us about your race.
Well, first I want to thank my father and the team for all the support. 2 races right back to back with the Devon and then this. Really a pleasure to be here, Andy, with the new class, and hopefully we can get a lot more cars here. But a great weekend. I didn't have anything for the new cars or even some of the XGT cars, but hopefully we put on a good show for the crowd and made Ron Fellows proud.
Made Ron Fellows proud. Hold that up, Jon DeGaynor. Made your dad proud as well. I see him over there filming. All right, look at Chris here. Jon, that was awesome. I love seeing that. And Sebring is a rough track, and you're putting some miles in this weekend. Come on now, Sebring, get loud. A vintage racer, a professional Trans Am racer, Jon DeGaynor. Hey, come here now, red shirt. There you go. I like that. There you go, Jon. Nice job. Congratulations. Because this gentleman has to go, we're talking about all. Oh, hold your trophy up real quick. Talk about all the stars that are here, but I promise you, you're going to want to get this guy's autograph because he is going to be a huge star in NASCAR. Our 2023 Cube 3 Architecture TA2 champion is running for the Trans Am TA Championship. Let's hear for Brent Crews, the MCO Gears lap leader, number 70. Brent, you were the class of the field out there, and I know you struggled with some mechanical gremlins yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, they're still trying to figure it out. I think it was something with the transmission, but can't thank my guys enough in Nitro Motorsports. Want to thank the good Lord above for keeping me safe when something can really go wrong. So just want to give a huge thank you to Bill Riley, a part of this Nitro Motorsports group. Every day back at Toyota. I can't thank enough for letting me be here, Mobile One, for keeping me going. But thank you all you great fans for being here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay cold. Yep.
Nice. All right, hold on. Stay here. We got to get a photo of you. Brent Crews, ladies and gentlemen, remember that name. Running for a Trans Am championship this year, and it's been so much fun to work with him. Unbelievable driver and great person, and that is what we love in the Trans Am family. Speaking of the Trans Am family, Friday night we had a Hall of Fame induction for Trans Am, the likes of Roger Penske, Dan Gurney, Paul Gentilozzi, Wally, Dallenbach Jr., all the legends of Trans Am. And in the inaugural class, two-time champion Amy Ruman, today coming in third place. So let's hear it. Trans Am Hall of Famer Amy Ruman, McNichols Chevrolet Valley Automotive Group. Amy, I'm so happy. Nice job. Great job. He had a bad shunt yesterday in the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series. I spoke to Andy last night at dinner, and we weren't sure he was going to make it, but Andy said once he heard that this team was maybe looking at a different driver, he jumped out of the hospital, came in here, got second place with Burton Racing. Let's hear it in that top liner Chevrolet Camaro, Adam Andretti. Are you guys paying attention? We have Andy Lowry here. We've had Paul Tracy here. We have an Andretti here. Unbelievable. And now, talking about big names, first place. He won here last year, and then he won our championship last year. And it's starting good for this Pittsburgh Paints and Stains premier car of Paul Menard, 2024 TA champion. There we go. There comes the crowd. Nice job. Man, the legends are all over the place here. Amy Ruman, Trans Am Hall of Famer. How was your race out there?
Well, we weren't the fastest car today, but we were persistent. We got ourselves up here on the podium, and obviously this weekend is super special for us. Being inducted in the Hall of Fame, I couldn't be more proud of my team and my parents. I couldn't have done it without them, and I want to personally thank Tony Pirelli for putting everything together. I mean, what a show we had on Friday night. And, I got to thank McNichols and Valley Automotive. Brian O'Donnell's here with us today, so I'm super proud to be up here. We persevered and got us a good third place.
Nice. How about that? Amy Ruman. Awesome. Adam Andretti, I was worried about you last night. I texted you. You're like, yeah, I think I'm okay. Not sure. Then you come out here with that beautiful top liner Chevy Camaro. You got to feel good now. How was the race?
Yeah, adrenaline is a wonderful blessing from our Lord above, isn't it? And and a huge thank you again to everyone and their concerns for me yesterday. It was a heck of a shunt, one of my biggest ones in my career for sure. And but the first responders, everyone, the medical staff that treated me was awesome yesterday. We got back out here to qualify and ran the race and tried to run this guy down. And honestly, physically, I just wasn't there. Like, my hands were going numb and some things were happening, I believe, from yesterday's accident. But no excuses. We brought that top liner Chevrolet Camaro home in third for Burton Racing. Those guys deserve every ounce of that, and looking forward to having a heck of a championship with this guy. And you know, he ran away from us too much last year, and we were able to keep him in sights today, and so we feel like we're gaining ground like we need to. And so I'm really excited about what 2025 season is going to offer us. We definitely didn't start Sebring out like this last year, so feeling really good and positive, and got to give a big shout out to the Lord above. You know, he keeps us all safe and good here, gives us this beautiful weather, and these fans. I mean, we've had 2 awesome grid walks in 2 days. What an amazing group of people. Thanks for coming out. You know, what a weekend with the Hall of Fame ceremony you mentioned. To be on the podium with these two is just such a blessing. And then Kyle over there for Make-A-Wish Foundation, buddy, we're behind you. Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin. We're behind you, and we love that you were here sharing with us today, Kevin. So thank you for being here.
Nice. Adam Andretti, ladies and gentlemen. Well, champ, 2024 champ, take the mic. Great start. How was your race?
It was eventful. Had a fast car all weekend. You know, finally put it all together for qualifying, and had the track position to start up front, lead some laps, and you know, just Brent Crews was just really quick on after 5-10 laps, and he ran us down. Had a little battle, and he got by me clean, and then Adam started running me down. We got that caution, kind of saved me from him. We used to have short run speed. We got to work on a little long run speed, but we know what we got to do. We got to get to work a little bit, and really proud of the guys. We had two cars this weekend. The guys busted their tails all weekend long, and bouncing back and forth between with Brandon Jones and myself, and keeping us running strong. So great to be back at Sebring. Hell of a way to start the year. Kevin, honored to meet you, buddy. You're a fighter. Really cool to see you here. On to Atlanta.
Nice. How about that? Now, before we do this, Kevin, come up here for a picture. Kevin with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I know that we're fighting for championships, and this is great. But I believe Make-A-Wish Foundation and helping out any way we can is even more important than winning championships. So Kevin, get in here on a picture. How about one more round of applause for Kevin and the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a true fighter. How about that? Hold those up. There you go. You want to hold that? Hold that up, Kevin. Nice. I love it. I love it. Nice job. All right, but you can't keep that. You got to give that back. Come on over here, man. Kevin, you're my hero. Seriously, nice job, man. All right, hold those. Wait. We got to hold those up like this. We got to do it official. Sorry, Chris. I know I'm flipping the script on you. Good. Oh, you did it already? Sorry, Michelle. But thanks for hitting me really hard with that hat. Whipping me into shape. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. Get loud. We're celebrating here. Who wants Adam's hat? Amy Ruman, Adam Andretti, and Paul Menard. What an honor it is just to be able to say those legendary names, hold those trophies up high. What a beautiful day at the Sebring Speed Tour. Again, Sebring, we love coming here. We love the fans. We love the staff. The track's a little rough, but that's Sebring, right? But we absolutely love it. All right, let's see who we do here. Good start to the championship. Amy Ruman, Paul Menard in a brand new race suit. The top liner car, Burton Racing. Great start to the season. And now next, we go to Burton Racing's home track for the Mission Foods Road Atlanta Speed Tour. Guys, great race, great start. Did you guys enjoy today's race? Nice. All right. Well, that does it for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli here at Sebring. Ooh, Amy. Oh, Jim Weed Winter Circle. We've got a bunch of Jim Weed out here for you guys. If you want some Jim Weed, we're going to have quite a championship here. Next round, Mission Foods. Road Atlanta Speed Tour, and we will be back here next year, same time, for the Sebring Speed Tour. Thank you guys so much for coming out, and I'm going to send it to you in the booth because we're going HTA on pit lane.
Hey, can I score one of them hats?
Ooh, you have to ask somebody higher up than me.
Oh, yeah,
see this lady right here, but she's scared.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
The Mission Foods Road Atlanta Speed Tour returns to Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, March 21st through the 23rd, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association, International GT, PSSA, FRP, and the Janetta Challenge. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the Road Atlanta Speed Tour, March 21st through the 23rd. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
Architecture is about everything. We change the environment. We are changing how people live in the environment today. So we basically put our fingerprint on the future of what the United States looks like. My overall business philosophy is that I'm engaged with my company from top to bottom, and I think the racing world and helping out the next generation and younger drivers is a passion of mine, and is getting stronger and stronger every year. With that, that's why I want to be involved.